All right, guys, we are back. Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy CMB checking in. And guys, I want to talk a little bit about Sebastian Fundora. You guys know this past weekend he was successful in defending his WBC 154-pound title by defeating Keith one-time Thurman, former unified champion at 147 pounds. And to be quite frank with you guys, I was really surprised by how easy he made it look. He made it, it was easy work, I would say, for Sebastian Fundora in that fight. Now, some of you know who watch my videos, you guys know I picked Keith Thurman to win the fight. I picked him based on experience, athleticism, boxing IQ. I think I even said he would stop Sebastian in the 8th round with possibly an overhand right. And I got it wrong. You guys know I'm not afraid to admit when I get things wrong. And I think, going into that fight, I thought, Keith would have a great game plan, but he didn't. He couldn't get in on the inside. He kept, he used a lot of lateral movement, but he kept moving towards Sebastian Fundora's power hand. And, just nothing played out the way that I thought it would for Keith. And Sebastian Fundora, to his credit, he fought a brilliant fight, excellent fight. He has definitely improved as a fighter, in my opinion. I've been watching him evolve over time, and the question is he the new Boogeyman at 154 pounds? And in my honest opinion, I would have to say yes. He is that guy. Some people say he has the cheat code because of his reach and height advantage when it comes to these other fighters at 154 pounds. And I've even heard some of the fans and even some of the fighters say, like, Rolly, I think he said it, that, it's not fair. He should be fighting in a higher weight class. My response to that is, I think if the guy can make the weight with no problem, then I don't really have an issue with it. I don't have an issue with it if he's not, having problems making that weight. If you can make the weight, fine. You fight your fight, in my opinion. And I just think that, his God-given gifts were his height and his reach advantage. Now, we know in the past he didn't use his reach or height advantage. He was a inside fighter, and he fights on the inside pretty well. And after he got knocked out by Brian Mendoza, he reassessed, his fighting style. He went back to the drawing board and learned how to fight tall. He learned how to work behind the jab. You guys saw in the fight this past weekend how he utilized his jab. He pretty much won that fight by keeping Keith Thurman on the end of his jab. And when, he needed to throw combinations, that's when he did it. So, yeah, I think that Sebastian Fundora is a hell of a fighter, and I think he's just going to be hard to beat because of the physical attributes that he possessed. But now, he's improved in his skill set. That's a nightmare. And the guy already knows how to fight on the inside. He's almost a well-rounded fighter. Now, he doesn't have very good footwork, but, he's tall and he's awkward. But a lot of things, a lot of things he has, I would say the attributes that he possesses is almost making him a well-rounded, full fighter, in my opinion. And he's definitely going to be hard to beat. And I think he is the Boogeyman. Now, the two people I see having the most chances to beat him, possibly chance to beat him, number one is Jerron Boots Ennis. And I say that because of his athleticism, his power, his ability to switch from left to right and right to left. Yeah, that's, he brings a lot to the table when it comes to someone like Sebastian Fundora. So that could be a great fight, in my opinion. It's a toss-up. But I still kind of view Sebastian Fundora as the favorite right now. I got to see how Boots looks against Xander Zayas, and then, I'll make a full assessment on that. Now, another one, a wild card, I would say, and some of you guys are going to think I'm crazy on this one, is Jermell Charlo. Jermell Lyons only Charlo. I think once Jermell gets reacclimated back to the weight class, maybe take a tune-up or two, I think he could also give Sebastian Fundora a run for his money because of his athleticism, because of his punching power. I think Jermell Charlo is a good fighter. I disagree with some of the things he says, but I do agree with some of the things. I do agree with him when it comes to his belief in himself. He never lost a fight at 154 pounds. He lost a fight, but he never lost his titles at 154. He was stripped of all those titles. So basically, he is the man at 154 pounds. I would say Sebastian Fundora is the boogeyman, and I would say Jermell Charlo is the man to beat. He only lost that one fight to Tony Harrison. He got that belt back, and then he lost all those titles after he went up to 168 and fought Canelo Alvarez, and took his ball and went home. But as you see, he's out here. He's been on a tear, and he's looking for a big fight. And that's what he is. He's a fighter. A lot of people are giving him a hard time because he's out here trying to fight everybody, but that's what he is. He's a fighter, and that's what fighters are supposed to do. That's his craft. That's his art. And if his heart wasn't in it for a minute, it happens. It happened to Keith Thurman. He got his fire back in his belly, and he came back. He beat Brock Jarvis, but he came up short with Sebastian Fundora. But that's the fight game. Sometimes your head's in it, sometimes it's not. If your head's not in the game, then you should step out for a while. That's the way I see things when it comes to these fighters. But I think he would have an excellent chance to capture a title from Sebastian Fundora, him and Boots, in my opinion. But anyway, I just wanted to get my thoughts on that. You guys let me know what you think about Sebastian Fundora. Is he the new boogeyman at 154 pounds? Do you think he should move up? Do you think it's a cheat code that he's fighting at 154 pounds, as tall as he is? He's what, 6'6", something like that, 80-inch arm reach. You guys let me know how you feel about it in the comment section. It's the CMB. I'll talk to you guys in the next one, and I'm out. Peace.